Good morning, bonjour. Ciao, a very warm welcome to this Sustainability Committee event of the French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce. And yes, good evening or good morning, depending on where you are. We are very, very happy to have you here with us this morning or this evening. And so I'm based in Auckland, we are delighted with Vincent and Gina from the Chamber and Zoe, who is co-chair of this committee, to welcome live from France, Arthur and Cécile, for this morning, which we will talk about time for the planet, entrepreneurship at the service of the climate emergency. You can see on the right-hand side, normally a few things about this webinar or this online event. And so this event will be recorded. You can use the chat function to message us, and we will do a quick check in a few minutes to see if it's working well. If you need some help, we will come within 10 minutes to your home to try to help you to fix your internet. And I think that's it, yeah. Cool, and if we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so we are three co-chairing this sustainability committee, and it was launched actually 2 weeks ago with a presentation with David Benatar on what we can learn from COP26. And so we have Hélène Toury and Zoe Pajot and myself. So we are part of the board also of the chamber. If we go to the next slide, please. So if you save the dates, what's coming here for the committee, we have 3 types of events. Some are conferences, like this one. We have some site visit, and we have some networking opportunities. The one which is coming very soon is next week, I think, the Wednesday, 6th of April. We are launching with the Time for the Planet community climate drinks at the Wynyard Pavilion in Auckland. So I think if you like the climate or if you like drinks, you're more than welcome to join us. The following months, we have a climate fresque workshop. And this will be sent by email to you in coming weeks. We will then have in June a very important day for us, which is the Sustainability Forum organized by the Chamber. So if you have some ideas of speakers, you want to be a speaker in this forum, please contact us, and we'll be happy to look at this together. We have some other activities that we are looking at together with Veolia, site visit, also together with Water Care, another site visit. So I think we have some representative of Veolia and Water Care online today. And we're also looking at a very large project we have in New Zealand, which is more than $1 billion investment about a data center in South Island, which is called Data Grid. So we're looking at this also to have a presentation on this large project together with the Building and Infrastructure Committee, actually. So as you see on the right-hand side, if you want to be a speaker, please contact Vincent, Gina, or myself, and we'll be happy to have you in one of our next events. Okay, cool. If we go to the next slide, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a very critical time, and not only for the climate, but actually it's the Chamber membership campaign. So it's time to renew your membership, or it's time to join us. And we're very happy this morning to see there are many members of the Chamber, but also a lot of people who are new and who discover for the first time an event of the Chamber of Commerce. I hope you will come back after this one. And you know that the Chamber is part of Team France, actually. We are an official partner. We are organizing more than 40 events every year. And it's a big network of French and New Zealand companies, actually. And we have 6 committees. Sustainability is one of them, but we have a women leadership committee, we have a building and infrastructure committee, we have the Pacific committee, and so on. And we are present mainly in Auckland and Wellington, but we have also some events sometime in other cities that we have, for example, during the Bastille Week. If you go to the next slide, you can see some of the members we have and the different membership categories. So you can be an individual member. I think it's $150. You can be a student member. It's 50 or under 30. If you are young, it's $50, I think. And then you have the bronze membership at $250, the silver at $500, the gold at $2,000, and the patron member at $10,000. And you can see here an overview of the different companies that are already a member of the French Chamber of Commerce. So I don't know, I can't see my the chat on the side, but I don't know if we started to introduce ourselves or not, Vincent, because the idea, yeah, we did it or not?
Yes, many people said kia ora and presented themselves in the chat. Thanks for that. And for the others, don't hesitate to.
Very good. Okay, so it's good to see where you are, if you can put your name and organization and where you are, in which city. I think we had some participants that are based in French Polynesia, for example, that join us today. We have some people in France. We have some people in New Zealand, in the South Island, in the North Island. So it's great to have you all here. I think without further ado, I'm very happy to pass the mic to Cécile and Arthur. We are delighted to have you here today. Very excited, actually. I think it's the first presentation of Time for the Planet in New Zealand, but also I think in Oceania or in Pacific region. So we are looking forward to hearing from you, and we can ask. I think we can ask questions, and we invite all the participants to put your question in the chat. And yeah, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Maybe we can say a few words about who we are to introduce. So Cecile, if you want to start.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Frederick, for the introduction. And it's very nice to be with you. I was looking in the chat if I saw anyone from Palmerston North, because I stayed there for 7 months, but I didn't see anyone yet from Palmerston North. So if anyone is from there, happy to say that. So I'm Cecile. I'm the International Director of Time for the Planet. As you see, I have been traveling quite a lot, which explains why I'm an international director. I've stayed in New Zealand for a while. I've been in several countries, and my work is to be able to open countries, to make Time for the Planet available for everyone in the world, and to go from country to countries to launch the movement. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing, and that's why today I'm here to talk with you. And with me is Arthur. Arthur, I will let you talk a bit about yourself before we start talking about Time for the Planet.
Yeah, with pleasure. Quickly to introduce me, I started 10 years ago in the digital communities. So I created several companies around mobile apps, website, and I sold 2 companies in this sector. And today I would like to have more purpose in my life. So that's why I'm doing Time for the Planet. But I will just explain for the short story. We are 6 entrepreneurs at the beginning of Time for the Planet. We created several companies in different sectors. And a couple of years ago, we realized about the crazy and the huge size of the climate emergency. And it was really a shock for us because suddenly in our daily lives, we felt like we were swimming against the tide. So we would like to act as many people and act as simple citizens at the beginning. And what we have seen really quickly is that when you're not billionaire or president of the republic, it's really hard to have an impact, and it's really hard to feel like you can do something for real. Because we are talking about the biggest challenge humanity ever faced, and we don't have any tool. And once you buy a scooter, you feel a bit helpless. So we met around this conviction that companies could be the perfect tool, because by definition, companies are changing the way we are living globally. And that's exactly the point when we are talking about this transition. So the first thing we have done is to meet with some scientists, because we are not scientists, and ask them about the problem, but also the solutions, because many people don't know exactly about the problem, and 2 things mainly brings us to the action. So I'm going to talk about the problem during just 2 slides I promise, and after we are going to the solutions. But I think it's important because many people know that there is this problem with greenhouse gases and this global warming, but they don't know exactly what it means and what could happen. And for us, there is mainly two really big things that everyone should know. The first thing is that we often talk about +2 degrees, +3 degrees, +5 degrees. We don't know exactly what it means, and it looks like, okay, it's just take off a sweatshirt maybe, but that's not. And if we are talking a bit about, it's an average on all the Earth. And if you go above the continents, you have to multiply this number by 2. So you're at +10 degrees. And during the peak, like the heat waves, you have to multiply it again by 2. So for example, you're at +20 degrees here. And you know exactly why it's a really big problem, because these heat waves are going to be way more longer and way more frequent. And when you are talking about how we can feed the humanity, you understand why it's a big problem when we are talking even about just +2 degrees. And the second thing is what we are calling retroactive loops. That's geological phenomena that auto-generate themselves and that could become totally unstoppable and out of control for humanity if we don't do nothing and if we let it happen. And I will give you an example so that it's going to be maybe clear. Some of you probably heard about what we are calling the permafrost. That's frozen grounds that cover 20% of the Earth today and that never melt. And that's a pretty good news, because inside this permafrost, there is billions of tons of extremely powerful greenhouse gases. That name is methane. And today, this permafrost is starting to melt. And by melting, it will launch this methane into the atmosphere. And so it accelerates the global warming and it accelerates the melt of the permafrost. And then the permafrost is relaunching more methane into the atmosphere. So you understood why it's a loop. And there is dozens of those loops. And if we let it happen, it's going to be really complicated to stop climate change. So if we are letting it happen, we will have to deal with many problems like war, like recessions, people dropping from a country to another. And at that time, it's going to become impossible to deal with the climate crisis. That's why we would like to act really quick and massively with Time for the Planet. So when we met with scientists, we also asked about the solutions. And what they always said the same thing. We will need two things mainly. The first one is sufficiency. And the second one is innovations. And what's really start the Time for the Planet adventure is they always said also that all the innovations we need, all the biggest innovation that can change the game globally regarding this crisis, they already exist. The problem is that they don't scale because innovators are not entrepreneurs. Those innovations are running by people that are like scientists, engineers, searchers, but not entrepreneurs, and find a business model, transform the innovation into a company and make it scale globally. That's not their job. And that was crazy for us because we know so many good entrepreneurs that are really successful, that know exactly how to marry ecology with economy. And now they are searching for their new challenge. They are searching for more purpose. And so we were like, okay, we have to do this. We have to do this connection because these two words don't talk. So that's what Time for the Planet is doing. We are deploying 100 major innovations to tackle greenhouse gases. And for that, we are co-creating companies with both innovators and entrepreneurs. Normally, I show this quick video in 2 minutes, but I will not because I'm not sure about the sound. So we will see maybe at the end, but it's going to be okay.
What are your plans?
Are you hearing the sound? Okay, so cool. I will let it. So we will dive into the details after that, and you will understand exactly what we are doing in 2 minutes. So it's going to be way more easy after.
2050. I don't know if you know, but they say we'll all die. Not too hot. Let's change the plan. There are two opposing strategies, but both seem equally ineffective. Some want nothing to change, business as usual. Others say the great punishment has come. The end of the world is nigh. We're caught in between like, let's turn the problem on its head. Did you know that business could avoid a climate cataclysm? Business, yes, not show business. Businesses. They shape the world we live in. If money decides everything, so let's play with economics, but with our own rules. We're out of time, so let's play the system at its own game. The ambition of Time for the Planet is to raise 1 billion euros to create 100 companies designed to fight global warming by detecting scientific innovations which solve the greenhouse gas problem. For example, build with new methods. Cement is responsible for 5% of CO2 emissions. Replace data centers with technologies which use 1,000 times less energy, and even capture carbon from factory chimneys. Turn them into companies thanks to successful entrepreneurs, and inject a lot of money so these businesses very quickly become global as we're out of time. The problem is, even with lots of money, you can go wrong. That's why there's a magic ingredient: open source. Time for the Planet will give its discoveries for free to the world, so thousands of other businesses can copy them. Time for the Planet is one of the world's biggest crowdfunding projects. What's missing then? Well, just you. There are thousands of us. Let's be millions. On Time for the Planet's website, become co-owner of an extraordinary project. Since nobody will save us, let's save ourselves. For that, we'll need strength, your strength. The greatest adventure in our history awaits you. So, share this video. Thank you.
So thank you for watching. So as you have seen in this video, our mission is to co-create 100 companies. And as you understood, to create those companies, we are the mission is to detect 100 innovations, select the best innovations, and hire entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, to run these companies. And we are injecting money to accelerate and maximize the deployment of these companies. But we can do this alone because, as you have seen, the mission is really big and ambitious. And that's why we are structured as a movement. Anyone can join Time for the Planet and grab this object to help it grow. That's really how it works. So anyone help Time for the Planet get quicker and go bigger. And so it works really easy because anyone can become shareholder, co-owner of Time for the Planet directly on our website with just €1, and it takes 2 minutes. The second thing is that we would like to create 100 companies and succeed every time, because we are in a really critical period and we are talking about crucial innovations. So we need to succeed every time, but we know how hard it is to create just one company. So we have to find a way to succeed every time. And for us, it's the open source. But it's not like open bar, because we are doing a free license with a patent. And this free license, we are distributing it to anyone so that anyone can, for free, copy and paste the innovation and commercialize it in his own country, for example. But in exchange, you get some obligations. And the first one is to reshare your own improvement of the technology, of the innovation, with all the people using the same license than you, so that we are doing a global research and development. And the second thing is that you have to reshare the impact of your own activity, so that we can count all the emission we are not emitting with our own companies, but also with all the companies that using the same free license than us. And the last thing, the last specificity of Time for the Planet is that we are a non-profit commercial company. So that's a bit strange, but we would like to take advantage of both the associations and both the companies. Associations are really, they got so many people help it grow, and companies got this financial independency that help them go really quicker. And so we have a specific model that you can see here. So people injecting money, the shareholders, and this money is used, you understood, to create companies. These companies, of course, are profitable because we need to have some employees and have some impact, but the money it generates and that go back to Time for the Planet, we fully and systematically re-inject it into the creations of new companies. And you your money is working, but not to make you rich. It's to decarbonize the most as possible. That's how Time for the Planet is working. And here I'm going to give you the mic, Cécile, because we are giving not a return on investment to our shareholders. As you can see, there is no arrow going back to the shareholders because we don't give them back money, you understood, but we all give them back climate dividend. And here the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arthur. So yeah, as Arthur said, our goal is not to have financial dividends, but it's to have the measure of the impact for our investor, and our measure is climate dividend. So what is a climate dividend? So one climate dividend corresponds to 1 ton of CO2 equivalent that is captured or saved. We always talk about CO2 equivalent because maybe you know that there is a lot of different greenhouse gases, but to have the same measure, we just do the conversion in CO2 equivalent. So we have the same measure for all of them. So climate dividend, how it works. So when you have a company that is that has an innovation that will allow to either reduce carbon emissions or to capture carbon, it will be able to emit climate dividend. So each time it's able to save or capture 1 ton of CO2 equivalent, it will produce 1 climate dividend. And when you are a shareholder, so when you own a part of the company, with your share, each year at the end of the year, you will have from all the climate dividend that are emitted by the company you are a shareholder, you will get your climate dividend from this. So for example, if you have a company that has emitted for the year 2022, 1,000 climate dividends, and you have 30% of this company, you will get back 300 climate dividends for you. So that's how it works. A climate dividend is really something that is important. It's an extra financial product. So it's not like carbon credit. You probably know about carbon credit. So carbon credits are really for compensation, which is not the case for climate dividend. They are really here to give an information of what's the impact of the investment. And it's really important because today, when you invest in a company, you don't have any incentive to do so. You don't have any measurement to know what's the impact, to be able to really measure.
Cecile, I don't know if your mic hidden by an object, but we can hardly hear you.
Is it better?
Much better, thank you.
Yeah, okay. I was just maybe a little bit far from my computer. Perfect. Thank you. So where was I? So it's really important to have this measure because investors today, when they invest in a company or in something, they don't have any incentives. They don't know how much is their impact in terms of carbon. So there is no incentive to invest in the transition, which is a problem because we know the transition will be only possible if we invest in it, if we put money on it. So that's basically the concept we have. So today at Time for the Planet, we created climate dividend because we needed a tool to be able to measure that. And when we went to different actors, we realized there were no tool actually existing today in the investing system. So we decided to create our own, and we started to work with several people in France first and now around the world. So we are, for example, working with the United Nations. We are working with big standards. So if you have companies and you are doing carbon footprints and stuff like that, you probably know a lot of different standards that are working on this kind of market. You might also have heard about the net zero. So for companies, we are talking about how they can participate to a net zero at the global scale. So there is more and more standard working on it. So I don't know if all of you are familiar with, and if you have any question later, just let me know, because it can be a little bit complicated what you don't know about carbon footprint. So really ask me question if you have any doubt. And so basically, we are working with all the standards. So companies around the world, when they invest in Time for the Planet or another initiative that allow to decarbonize the economy, they can just include this in all their ESG components. So it's really important, this notion about that. So I hope it was clear. Climate dividend is a little bit hard when you don't know much about the carbon market. So really just ask questions as much as you want. I will answer all of them, but it's just to give you a little bit the concept. And as an individual, for us to have climate dividend is really just to be able to measure or impact of investment. So that's about it about climate dividend. Now maybe I will talk a little bit about where we are today and what we have done till now. So basically, Time for the Planet was born around a little bit more than 2 years ago. So we are actually very new. And our first focus was on France, because we needed first to prove what we were able to do in France, that people will follow us and people will want to invest even if there is no return on investment, only a return on impact. So that's the first thing we needed to do. Then we needed to show that we were able to find innovations, find entrepreneurs, and build companies from that. So after 2 years, we raised, so 2 years and 3 months, something like that. So we raised 9 million euro already, which is quite huge knowing where we started, because Time for the Planet and the co-founders, they didn't know anything about the investment world when they started Time for the Planet. So we raised already 9 million. We have more than nearly 800 innovations that were submitted to Time for the Planet, and we launched our 3 first companies. And more importantly, we just went more than 44,000 shareholders, mainly in France, but more and more in different countries. And today we have shareholders in 85 countries, which is quite impressive knowing we really focused on France. So it really shows that people, citizens, they are really willing to follow us, but we also have more and more big investors, companies, funds that want also to participate to Time for the Planet. So we were really able to achieve that. To give you an idea of the innovations we financed, very quickly, I will describe the 3 innovations we launched last year. You can ask more questions later, but I will do it very quickly. So the first one is called Beyond the Sea. Beyond the Sea is a kite pulling sail. So it's really a kite sail like you can see in sport, but way bigger, that is made to put on merchant ships. So today, the marine merchant, it really has a huge impact. If it was a country, it will be the 6th more emitting country in the world. So it's really huge. And this innovation allows to reduce by at least 20% the consumption of fuel from the ships. So it can be more, but it's at least 20%. And the technology is not only the sail, but also the artificial intelligence. And that's why we can, with time and with more data, get better and better on the performance, which is also a model that is really great when we talk about open source, because the more people are using this innovation, the more data we will have. The second innovation is called Leviathan Dynamics. So this innovation is really interesting. You probably know that we have a lot of cooling system in life. We have air conditioning, but we also have a lot of cooling system in companies. So for industrial process, etc. So it's really something that is huge. And this cooling system, they use gases that are called HFC gases, which are quite powerful in terms of global warming, around 3,000 times more powerful than CO2 in average, because there is different gases, but in average, that's about it. And so it has a huge impact. Leviathan Dynamics was able to remove these gases and put water instead, so you don't have any more global warming effect from the water. And also it was able to reduce the consumption of energy by 30%. So it's really huge. And just to give you an idea, these HFC gases that we are using in cooling system, they represent around 2% of the gases that are today on Earth. And it means that that's more or less the same as the aviation sector, which is quite huge. So it's really something that has a huge impact to be able to remove them. And the third innovation, it's about olivine. So it's called carbon impact. So the project, olivine is a mineral that we find in volcanic rocks. And this mineral, it's a green mineral, quite nice, that you can find pretty much everywhere on Earth. And this mineral, when it's in contact with the ocean water, it will capture the CO2 from the ocean water. You will have a chemical reaction, and you will have then, so I see Arthur is looking for what it looks like. So you will see an image of what it looks like. So this will allow to capture a lot of CO2 from the ocean. And we can accelerate this natural process by grinding in a very small sand, this mineral, and putting it on the beach. And then with the movement of waves, it will just go faster. It will accelerate this reaction that we have. And the potential of this mineral to capture is really huge. So we actually were working first with Project Vesta that you can see on the screen right now, which is an American NGO that has done a lot of research. And they say that the potential was gigatons of CO2 equivalent. So of CO2, actually, because it captures CO2 from the ocean. So of course, it will take a lot of work to reach that, but that's just to give you an idea of how huge is the potential. We don't expect to have this capture so fast, but it's an idea of what it could be. So you see the three innovations that they are all on sectors that have a huge impact in terms of carbon. So we are really focusing on innovation that can have a global impact on carbon emission and on CO2 emission, so we can have an actual impact on climate change altogether. So that's about it from where we are today. Maybe now you wonder how you can join us. So very quickly, Arthur told just before that we can go on the website. So to be a shareholder, the first thing you can do is to be a shareholder, which is the basic thing anyone can do. So as an individual, as a company, as association, any organization really can become a shareholder. And so it's just very quick on our website. You can just click on buy shares and you will have all the information. So I just switched to French on your screen, Arthur, but we have it in English. It's just because Arthur is in French, so it's just localized him and put back in French, but we have it in English as well. So it's very easy to do. If you have any question, we are available to answer at any moment. Something else you can do also as an individual is to join our community of people, of volunteers. So we have a community called Galaxy of Action. And actually, Frederick is one of our members in the Galaxy of Action because he is the one to lead our smaller community in New Zealand. So we have in our community smaller communities that are by geographical location or by skills. And so you can join it. It's just 1 hour training. It's available in English already, because before it was just French, but now it's also open to everyone that speaks English. So it's a 1 hour training. We explain to you how the Galaxy of Action work, how the community work, and then you can just join us and be part of the community. And the second thing you can do as a volunteer is to be an assessor. So it's not available in English yet, but it will be very soon. I hope in 2 weeks, I will finish all the translation we have to do. And so the assessors, they are the ones that assess the innovation in our process to select innovations. They are the first step. So we rely on collective intelligence, and they assess the innovations to make a pre-selection. The reason why we do that, I told you we have more than 800 innovations that have been submitted to Time for the Planet. So it allows us to go way faster to process all this innovation. And that's why our first step is based on collective intelligence. We have a lot of people just helping us to be able to assess the innovation, know which one are of the top potential, and then go to our scientific committee, because our scientific committee doesn't have the time to do hundreds of innovations each year. So I think that's about it from me. It's pretty much all I had to say. You might have a lot of questions. I already see there is a question in the chat, so I will check it in a minute. But you can ask any question you have. We are more than happy to answer. Really feel free to ask everything you want. Do you have anything you wanted to add before we answer a question, Arthur?
No, it's okay. Perfect.
So let's go for the first one. So Vincent is asking us regarding the 3 company project Time for the Planet as invested in Beyond the Sea, Carbon Impact, and Leviathan Dynamics. What is the time to market and expected global usage? So do you want to answer, or I can do it like you wish?
You can do it. Let's go.
So I will go. So actually it depends of which ones. So Beyond the Sea and Leviathan Dynamics, they're actually already making sales. So they are already ready to market. They are very mature innovations. We actually had a first sale of Leviathan Dynamics a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. They sold to a company. So it's already going on. And Beyond the Sea is the same. They always sell. Actually, I think they sold a sale in New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. They sold it maybe 6 months ago or something like that. So it's already ready to the market. Now it's really to be able to make it global and grow as fast as possible. And we have the chance also with our community to have a lot of people asking about the innovation. I know Leviathan Dynamics, we have a lot of companies saying to us, oh, we want to try this solution. So it goes way faster thanks to our community of shareholders. And carbon impact is a little bit more long-term innovation. That's actually most of our innovation will be more like Beyond the Sea and Leviathan Dynamics to have an effect as fast as possible. But carbon impact, we decided to go for it, even if we still need probably 3, 4, maybe 5 years before we can really launch it in a bigger scale. But because we know the impact and the potential of impact is huge. So we cannot go for all innovations that have a longer time to market, but from time to time to have one that is like that, if it has a huge potential, is interesting. So probably carbon impact, I'm not too sure because it takes a lot of work and we are still trying to do some testing because there is a lot of research on small scale, but researchers that were not able to do it on bigger scale. And it's really important we do it before we go global because we have to check all the impact on biodiversity, on all the balance in the ocean, depending on what you do with olivine. So that's why, but the two other really it's already been selling. So that's it. If you need any more elements, let me know, but I think that's answers your question.
Yeah, and we got another question that asks from Adam that asks about the 8 millions raised. How much has come from citizens, from individuals? So it's around 6 millions. So companies are starting to invest into Time for the Planet, and that's about the second question because he asked what's the reaction and attitude of big firms that we are approaching to become shareholders. And today we are in discussions with many big companies to become shareholders. It's about dozens of millions of euros, and the fact is that they are talking with us only because we are a big citizens movement. That's why it's really important to be as much as possible as individuals, because what we see is that they got always some collaborators that already are like shareholders of Time for the Planet and ask them, what are we doing here? And of course, there is no return on investment and there is no communication from ourselves about this. So there is nothing if we are seeing it like this, like a really corporate way. But with the climate dividend, because it's really something acceptable into, we would like to do something that really could be like, I don't know, but a standard in the world. They are really interesting. So yeah. So today we are talking with many big companies in France, and we would like to close deals in the next couple of months.
Yeah, and really climate dividends, I think it changes the game for companies because it's something when you, as a company, you work on ESG and you are working to get a better carbon footprint and you want to participate to global net zero. It's really something, we are building a tool for that. So it's really important. And a lot of companies are telling us that's actually very interesting, this concept. So we are actually going to launch it officially very soon. So we have a presentation in French in April, and we have another one with a lot of people coming from the global standard in everything that is from the carbon market. That will be in May, and so it will be in a physical conference, but we should also have a live at the same time. So if you are interested in that, you can follow it. We will communicate on it very soon, so people can come. And if you know the event Change Now is the biggest event around the planet today in the world. So it will be at Change Now, and we will have people physically in the room and also broadcast live for everyone who knows, and it will be directly in English, so it will be way more comfortable for anyone that doesn't speak French.
Yeah, and we got another question from Stefan.
Yeah.
Ask us, how can we see where our money is going and the progress of the company, etc., etc. That's a pretty good question, because when you're a shareholder, you can participate to the General Assembly, and during the General Assembly, we are voting all together to invest money into different projects. So we got our selection process in 4 steps, and the last steps is this General Assembly. So the innovations that arriving to this General Assembly, we are saying to all the shareholders, now it's your choice to select the innovations we're going to invest on, and how much we're going to invest on. It's about how much they need, and all is transparency, because you can directly find the account, the bank account of Time for the Planet on our website. I can show you. Oh no, I can't right now because I'm not sharing anymore the screen, but you can find everything on our website, the account. And of course, we are doing a report each month to explain all the shareholders what's the big news, and of course, how our companies are running. So we are sending it by mail, and that's really easy with just a quick video.
Just one detail for the account, they are produced in French because it's an external firm that does it. It's not ourselves, of course. We have an audit of our accounts, so it's in French right now, and we are working to do the translation. So we will have the official document and the translation in English for people that doesn't understand English. So it's under process, but you can see it in French if you want right now. And I'm working with some translator to have it in English very soon. So just if you look for it. We have a question in, we have a Q&A place. So how do you measure positive impacts that can't be converted to CO2, for example, improve biodiversity? So actually that's something our measure is really on CO2 equivalence. That's really what we give our shareholders. That's really what we focus on. But what we have, we really study all these effects. So first our assessors, they make a first assessment if they feel like there is any problem. And then our scientific committee will go further and really check if there is any problem during the market test as well. If we see anything that could be bad on biodiversity, on social impact, etc., we will check it. So what we want is to be sure that there is no negative impact. And if there is positive impact, then it's something that it's just something more to the innovation, but we don't measure it properly because our measure is really in CO2 equivalent. We just want to make sure that it's at least neutral, and the best it is if it's positive. And we have scientists helping us to determine if it is, and experts from different fields that help us. So we have the chance to have a lot of people working with us on a volunteer base to do all this work.
Yeah, and we have another question from Frederic. He asks us, since the first day of Time for the Planet, what are the biggest surprise you did not see coming on positive side and on negative side? Interesting question. On positive side, I guess it's it goes really fast with people, and also about this climate dividend. It's crazy because today we have like 50 of the biggest international entities about the climate that joining forces with us around this climate dividend. That's crazy because we are so small. So this is interesting. And on the negative side, that's what
I
the
was
fuck?
going to say, all people from the current market, they are like, oh, this concept is really huge, and we were wanting to do something like that, but we couldn't do it. And the fact we are independent, we can just bring all of them around the table, and we are able to build a concept that will be useful for everyone in the world in terms of investment and impact investment. So it's really huge, actually, is what's happening right now with the climate dividends. And I will let you from the negative side.
No, negative side, the IPCC report, I don't know, because that's really hard. No, negative side, maybe the fact that it could be really long the discussions with the innovators could be really long, because sometimes we really have to find, for each innovation, we see that we have to find a specific model to collaborate, to find the right way to collaborate, to create the collaboration. So it took around 6 months at least, and we were thinking that it will be a bit less, but it's okay. It works well, but that could have been a surprise.
Yeah, and I think none of the co-founders were from the investment field, so it's a little bit of a lot of learning to work on all this kind of stuff, how you work with the innovators and the entrepreneurs we put to build a company, to have the shares of Time for the Planet, etc. So that's a lot of work, and I don't think we had anyone on the team that was like in this field before, so it takes quite a lot of time and a lot of discussion with lawyers.
And what's interesting too is the people that are applying to be CEOs of the companies that are really, really, really high level. We were not expecting as high level at the beginning of Time for the Planet. And that's really interesting, and that's really extremely powerful on the positive side. And I think we answered all the questions. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate. But I don't see any other question.
We just give you back the, I think you can, if you want to share your screen.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think you can again share your screen, just to let you know. Yeah.
I'm going to share it because we got a new question, and that's interesting because it's about where we are, where are the shareholders. And if you go, so I will go with the French version of the website. Sorry for the people don't speaking French, but that's only on the French version, I guess. You can see here.
You have the map on the English one as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I did my work of translation, Arthur.
Yeah, I see. So you can see where are the shareholders today. So it started to grow in some countries. We don't do anything, and that's pretty interesting. That what Cecile was saying. It started. So yeah, here we are. But for the moment, it's mainly in France.
We can see New Zealand with 27 shareholders, if I'm not wrong. So we hope to see a lot more very soon.
Yeah.
And so just to answer the second part of the question, how can the local planet as the New Zealand planet help you? So basically a planet is really made to have the shareholders that all want to be volunteer to gather together and have good time together, do events together, so they get to know each other. And that's the most powerful thing. Once you know people, once you just spend time with them, enjoyed some drinks or hiking or anything with them, then it's way easier to have action together. And so when you have a community like that is quite strong, when there will be the need to do any action to help Time for the Planet being known, it will be easier to find people to help you. And just as an example, what did Frederick today, just to organize a webinar, for example, will help to get Time for the Planet known. So any action that will help to get Time for the Planet known, so brand awareness or to find fundraising, will be helpful for us. Today we are going, as I said, we are going to focus on one country at a time to really open it with, all our resources. So it will be the UK first for us, which will be great for you because there will be more and more English content, because before most of our content was in French, but now it will be a lot more in English. But while we are focusing on one country, the shareholders from the other countries, they can still do a lot of action to start to have a basis of shareholder, start to have some companies in their country investing, and that will be huge because if we already have a basis of shareholder in a country, the day we decide to go with our full resources to this country, it will be way faster because we will already have brand awareness, we will already have people wanting to help, we probably will have some entrepreneurs, innovators already knowing about us, so it will go a lot faster. So any action you think about to just raise the brand awareness about Time for the Planet or to find funds for Time for the Planet is really great. And the fact that you build community and you gather together will make it way easier for you to do action together after that. But if you want to be in the Galaxy of Action, you can go through the training. It's a 1-hour training, so I cannot do it right now for you because it will be a little bit too long. But if you register to one training, there is more or less twice a month, I think, in English for now. I will explain, or me or another trainer will explain everything about the Galaxy of Action and how you can act once you are in the community.
Yep,
I hope
and
it
we have a
answers.
question about the scientific support. So 3 questions in one. Who are the scientists who's supporting Time for the Planet? We have many in different sectors, but for example, we have Jean Jouzel, who's the ex-vice president of the IPCC. We got some glaciologue, I don't know how to say this, but Heidi Sevestre. We got people from different laboratories, and the best example is to see, and you can find it directly on our website. If you go on Shareholders and you add a filter to go on the scientific committee, you can see all the members of the scientific committee, and they come from different laboratory, like for example CNRS, Negawatt, and there is many on different INRAE, all the entities that are really interesting about the climate change already.
Just today, our scientific committee is still quite French because we started in France, but tomorrow probably we will have scientists from all over the world. Probably the first non-French will be from the UK because that's the country we are going to push a lot. But of course, our scientific committee needs to be able to assess innovations in English because we have innovation coming from all over the world. So today it's quite French, but probably in 1 year, 2 years, you will see a lot of people from different places and not only French. Zoe is asking us, scientific committee and shareholder aside, how many people are running Time for the Planet and who can join the team? So actually we are a very small team compared to the number of shareholders we have because we are only 10. Today we are only 10 people. 9 of them are really focusing on France, and 1, which is me, is going to go to other countries. So first the UK. So we are really a very small team. Who can join the team? So basically what we do, and we do this for every single Time for the Planet, we only do something when we have a need that is expressed. So once we have a need for a specific skill, we will hire someone that has this specific skill. Something quite important still, because we could have a lot of more employees if it was easy and we could pay them all. But one thing that is really important at Time for the Planet is we have a limit of 10% of what we raise of our fundraising that we can use to make Time for the Planet works. So 90% of the money is going to the innovations, and 10% only is used for salaries, for the website, for juridical costs, for everything, which is actually quite low. So we have to stay below the 10% all the time. If we could use more, maybe we will have more employees at this time because there is always a lot of things to do, but we have to think what are the priorities, where do we really need to put resources, and that's when we hire someone when it's time for a specific subject to go on. So I hope it answers a little bit. We know a lot of people ask us to how they can join the team, and actually I just worked on a website to have our offers, our job offers of Time for the Planet. So it's not yet on our website because it was still in conception, so it will be soon, but soon you will have a section with our jobs. But I already tell you that it will be quite a few jobs and it will be very specific to what we need. On this job website, we will also have from our companies, so from the companies we created, so they will also post their jobs on the same platform, so we can have everyone together. So same, if you see anything that interests you in our subsidiaries jobs, you can also apply it. But basically that's about it, and we would love to have more opportunities for people to join us, but we really focus on what we need at the time.
Yeah, 5 minutes, we know.
Yeah, so time for one last question, or 1 or 2 more questions, if you want, just put them in the chat.
And if there is any question we didn't answer properly, also just tell us, because we don't see you, so we don't see your reaction.
And if you have a joke.
Jokes are always good.
And if we don't have more questions, I don't know, Cécile and Arthur, if there are some closing remarks you'd like to do before we end this this online event.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Yeah, life is good. No, I will just may say it's really an amazing adventure time for the planet. It's just to see all citizens that gather together to be able to really change the world, shape the world of the future. And it's really, really great to see citizens, companies engaging for the same cause. And we are all in the same boat with climate change. We know it's a problem that sometimes can be a little bit hard, a little bit depressing. But what we really want is to give the possibility to people to enter in action and to do it joyfully. So it's really important to stay positive and to do the best we can to change things and to act against climate change and to do it together.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe to close this this event, I just see that we have Richard Templer with the CEO of Engineering New Zealand, and we have also Rachel with the CEO of Sustainable Business Network participating, as well as other representatives of different large companies in New Zealand. And very happy to have you here. And we have some forum coming, for example, or other event. If you like to do this together, I would be very happy for the chamber to do that together with you. Yes, so opportunity also to thank very much Gina and Vincent for putting this event together. Much appreciated. Thank you to all the participants also for all your questions. And a very big thank you for Arthur and Cecile, who are in their pajamas, I think, ready to...
No, not yet.
No,
Another point. Close to it.
Close to it, but it's quite late in France, so much appreciated for that. And we did have participants also from China, and I think it's very early in the morning in China, maybe middle of the night. Some in Australia, it's also very early, I think 2 or 3 hours before here in New Zealand. And also a lot of people from France that joined from France directly. So and many, of course, from New Zealand. So it's great to have this international live event with both of you, Arthur and Cecile. Much appreciated. What's coming next? If you're interested to learn more about Time for the Planet and to drink, there are the climate drinks, which is next Wednesday on the 6th of April, 5:30 at Wynyard Pavilion in Auckland. So this will be the official launch of the New Zealand Planet for the Time for the Planet community. So warm welcome to come here. And don't forget, it's also a critical time for renewing your membership and to join actually the Chamber of Commerce in the coming weeks. Thank you very much. I think we are finishing 1 or 2 minutes before. Have a great day, New Zealand. Have a great evening, France. And see you soon. Merci.